pleasure to introduce to you Marcos Moreu, who is a choreographer, artistic director of La Veronal, the company we will present at the festival. And actually, it's not the first time. La Veronal with Siena was presented in Bratislava in 2017. So I hope there are some people who can remember this piece, which was presented at the National Theatre. And this time you will have a chance to see our new, a little bit bigger stage of National Theatre with the video piece Sonoma. But before we come to Sonoma, maybe I would like to ask you to say us or introduce yourself a little bit better, because your story as a choreographer is not that obvious, because obvious would be that the dancers with a long career become in one day choreographer and start to make pieces. But you study photography, movement, and theater, and then you became a choreographer. So tell us something about your encounter with choreographic art and dance, and yeah, how happened that you ended up to make a very, very successful dance pieces and running very successful company.
Well, honestly, it's very weird because I'm not dancer, as you mentioned it. And in general, the other choreographers, they used to be dancers first, and after they get interest in the choreography and in art in general. In my case, I arrived to dance after being a strong research in different arts, especially photography and drama. And it's hard to don't be dancer, but I transform this handicap in my value, in my way of creating, in my way of communicating with the dancers. I have to invent the new way of communicating with them because I cannot be in front of them and just copy me. No, I like to talk, to produce stimulations, to produce the creativity on the bodies and on the space. And yeah, and that's why how I became a choreographer. I use the stage as a battle shield. I like theater, I like opera, I like music, I like dance for sure. I like lighting, set design, costumes, text. For me, everything is important. Each piece has more ingredients of something, less ingredients of another thing. But in the last 10, 15 years, I realized that my interest is on the stage. I like the stage as a place to be, as a place to provoke questions and a place to generate feelings and stories and universes where the audience feels in somehow.
Mm-hmm. And as this, your approach to creation, is it something that can be somehow characterized as a general principle you use, or you always approach to creation differently depending on the topic or dancers or the company you work?
Exactly. I mean, each experience is different. Um, each creation, each process is different. Sometimes I'm coming from the music. Sometimes I'm coming from the idea. Sometimes I'm coming from intuition. And sometimes I'm coming from, in general, all the times, I need to come from the world that we are living, the present that I'm living. I always say that I want to do pieces that talk about our time. I need to be connected with my time, where everything is connected, the politics, the society, the art, the different kinds of art, literature, photography, dance, opera, theater, cinema, everything is connected, everything is happening together. And how the directors and the creative people needs to be in constant connection with the reality. No? We are translating our reality in dance, in art, and in each process, I have different experiences. In all the processes, you are in a moment where you are lost. You need to be lost. I mean, being creator is accept that you are lost, because the art is a mystery. Creating is something weird and dark, and it's beautiful as well, but the process in itself is a mystery. And everybody, all the creators, all the dramaturgs, the choreographers, we are working trying to protect or preserve an enigma, a secret, something that we know. Sometimes we cannot explain it. Sometimes we can explain it very well. But all the times you have something inside yourself that is connected with you. And you only need to wait. Sometimes the creative process comes very fast, sometimes not. And this is the beauty. I mean, the fragility of the creation is incredible. When you are playing to this, when you are creating, you cannot do anything else because you are connected with something superior. You like to be in the world, trying to emotion the others, trying to make questions on the other story, trying to shake the others. And I think art is very necessary, is super necessary. And I'm thanks I found my vocation in this world, that I can develop my creations not only in La Veronal, also invited around the world in the last years and in the future. Beautiful.
Great. It's something it's really important to listen to our society today, because we need art. So let's go to Sonoma, because in material there is a mention about that the piece was in 2000 for the concept of the piece was created first for 2000 in 2016 for Laurent Ballet, and then you some kind of expanded for La Veronal and Sonoma. And also another source of this piece is figure of Louis Buñuel as the inspiration, surrealism of him. And also Sonoma, it's really interesting title because of the title of the meaning of the word is a compilation of two words, two meanings. So maybe let's talk about Sonoma, about how you created it and what is behind that creation for you.
Yes, I think first of all, Sonoma is the consequence of the lockdown. In 2020, you remember COVID was present in the world and everybody was closed at home. And I was creating this piece at home. And the piece, when finally we got the chance to arrive to the studio, the piece was affected by that context. That's why the piece is connected with the animal part. It's screaming, it's loud, it's full of anger. The piece is talking to the animal side of the human beings. The piece is connected with Luis Buñuel also, because Luis Buñuel is one of the most important figures in the surrealism in Spain. Whoever is working in composition of images appreciate his approach to the art. He is in constant connection with the tradition and how the tradition and the folklore is connected with the avant-garde and with the progress without complex. This is the most beautiful thing, without complex. Also, Luis Buñuel is talking about intuition. He's talking about the non-logic side of the human being. This is one of the base of the surrealism. And also, the piece is connected with the figures of the women. There are 9 women dancing, talking, praying, singing. And it's wonderful how we put together three generations, people around 20, people around 30, people around 40 in this beautiful piece that also somehow is a revolution for the women, is a piece for them. And you can ask, but how are you mixing too many different things? Because you are mixing the pandemia, you are mixing the women, and you are mixing Buñuel. You know, my master, Romeo Castellucci, always he says, you cannot invent anything. You only can't mix things. And that's why how we used to work. When you are the son of the 20th century, where everything was happening, in the 21st century, you can destroy everything, you can mix everything, you can combine everything, you can pretend that you are creating something new, but nothing is new. And this is Sonoma result. It is a very successful piece that we got very good reviews and very good touring world, being in Avignon, being in the most important places. And the piece is very nice because it's a good approach for the style or for the language of La Veronal, because you can see movement, but you can see aesthetics, you can see text, you can see a politic compromise, and you can see a piece that even is for 4 years ago is still very present. And I think this is a very successful approach.
Exactly. I just want to come back a little bit to the dancers you mentioned, because they are really gorgeous dancers, very interesting personalities, and very good dancers, of course. So are they all members of your company, or they are some guests in the cast?
You know, all the dancers, unfortunately or fortunately, in Spain, all the dancers are freelance.
Okay.
We cannot hire them like 2 years. They are working with us from the very beginning because they want, and they are doing my projects and another projects, and the base is always the same.
Okay.
There are 9 girls, and inside these 9 girls, 3 they became mom, and we need to replace them in the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the cast is a collage of the old cast plus new vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the beautiful thing also, because they always say that each show, each experience, each approach for the piece is different, because sometimes one new dancer, not new dancer, but the combination of options of dancers, they are very different. But yes, the dancers are always the same. I mean,
And
there are 9 dancers plus 3 covers, but at this point, the 12 dancers have the essence of the piece.
okay. And it's maybe interesting to hear like how you create the movement material, because and also when there is this understudy, it's the movement material which is said, which is there, and they learn when they understudy the role, they learn the material, or you also adapt it to them a little bit, and they can put their input into the piece, or it's just like something which exists.
Very, very interesting question. In general, the new people who comes for my company, I don't really like they copy. For example, Miroslava, there are unisons that they have to learn, because it's like that. It's 7 and 8 and 1. They have to do it like this. But there are other moments that they need to understand how is the body, how is the image that they are generating, and they can play.
Mm-hmm.
We can say that 80% of the piece is set. The 20% is a foggy layer that dies everything in an improvisation and makes the piece very alive.
Mm-hmm.
But we can say, Miroslava, that 80% of the piece is 100% set,
Yeah.
and 20% is free. And the
Oh,
freedom is necessary because transform the piece in something really alive.
And as you said, they need to use their voices because they talk, they sing, and everything. So what was the resource of the text you use in the show, in the performance? Because it's really significant part of it, especially at the beginning. It's very important to understand the text, which is
Yeah. Miroslava, we start the piece with the Evangelius, and the dancers, they use, I think, 3 sentences, like exactly like in the New Testament are written. And after this, we fly away. We get inspired by the mood, by the tone, but as Buñuel would do, we get inspired by religion to go somewhere else. The piece is not Catholic at all. We use the Catholic symbols, if you can say, or the Catholic vibes to transcend them, to go somewhere else. The text is said in French because 2 reasons. The French is the language of the revolution, and because Buñuel was living in France, and thanks to the French people, Buñuel is who is. It's like Picasso. Picasso is Spanish, but thanks to the French people, he is the genius that he is. Because in Spain, they were suffering a dictatorship. They didn't find here the freedom to do their own work. It's not the same that is happening to me because I'm working in Spain, but I'm working much more outside Spain. But not because the dictatorship, is because the money, or because the crisis,
still
or because the
dictatorship.
support. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And there is, because Sonoma is really very visually rich. It's, you really create images, and it's mysterious, and it's, I don't know, sometimes disturbing, but it's really always like attracting or captivate the viewer. And it's very strong atmosphere you are able to create on stage. And there is also this, besides all we talk about, there are these like costume, masks, and props. It's, they play very important parts. So maybe tell us something about these elements of the show.
Yes, Miroslava, I like a lot everything. I'm very detailed. I like the costumes, I like the details of the props, the fabrics, the complements, the colors, the lighting, the music is wonderful. Everything is in the same universe, no? And I'm trying to take care about everything. And you cannot do this alone. I'm surrounded by an amazing team of professionals from production till costume design. And everybody knows how difficult is this work because we are inventing. We are not copying reality. Reality is beautiful, but we need to do something else. And you need to combine things all the time. And you don't want to do the regional costume of Aragon where Buñuel was born. You want to combine this with another city because, I mean, you are combining stuff. And when you are combining, you are lost. And when you are lost, you are scared. And the people ask you, why we are doing this? Why we are doing that? And you have to say, guys, sometimes we don't know why. Sometimes we know why. And I think the creation in the contemporary world has to be a good balance between logic and intuition. And this balance is really difficult. I think you need one life to learn this.
That's great. So I think that was the best invitation to all the viewers. So please come and see and get lost, because when you are lost, you can find yourself then again. I think it's the best invitation. So thank
So
you
nice.
very much for this talk, and hope to see you in Bratislava.
Thank you very much.